Hey everybody, this is Meilin Obinata, your host for today's Talk of the Bay on KSQD, and my guest is Osbaldo Lucero. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Osbaldo Lucero. Again, most people know me as Oz, and for the last 13 years, I've been producing podcasts down in Salinas and covering a bunch of different topics.
Great. So I love podcasts, and I'm sure, people love if people are listening to the radio, they love podcasts. But why do you love podcasts?
It was when I discovered them 13 years ago, I was like, this is how not just my generation, but other generations are going to communicate. This is how information is going to spread. I mean, social media was still a thing, but, I heard one I was sitting on my lunch and it was actually Twitter. I was scrolling through Twitter and I was like, what is this? I had heard the word podcast. Mm-hmm. Then I listened to it and I was like, whoa, like the medium, not the show itself, whatever, it was fine. But the medium, I was like, oh, this is the future. This is how people are going to communicate. This is how people are going to share information. This like newspapers and the traditional 6 o'clock news and all that is just, it's different now that these are in your pocket on demand and free. So, that's where I was just like, this is the future. I enjoy storytelling. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it. So just as a storyteller, I was like, this is a medium to tell stories, and I got to figure it out.
Wow. So you just immediately were all about the medium. What did you do with that energy?
Well, because at the time I write. I would like to write a lot. So I had a soccer blog about the local soccer community. So I was just like, okay, well, nobody's reading it. I mean, it was like quakesandlechuga.blogspot.com. Like, who was ever going to find that, but again, it's one of those things. Like, I did it, but I got the bug,
Yeah.
Just doing it, even though people weren't reading it, it wasn't getting super popular. I was enjoying using that outlet. So when I first, people aren't reading it. And then I come across podcasts and I'm just like, whoa, this is the future. And unlike blogs, I could get in on the ground level. Maybe if I get in early, I'll get popular or something. My little show will get popular. So then I set about, that was how do you, I didn't know anything about audio. I knew microphones and speakers made stuff louder, but how it did it and you turned it into a show, I had no clue. So again, that was the first step. It's like, okay, I believe in this medium. I like storytelling. I want to use this medium to tell stories. But now, how? Because again, now, 13 years later, I'm sure you can just go on YouTube and there's a million videos of some people
like how to do
it.
Sure.
Yeah, but back then, it was just literally the Wild West. And so that was the first step. Is like, okay, I have this energy, this idea. How, so I mean, what I did is I went to my musician friends, I'm like, they know microphones. And so that's why I went to a musician and said, hey, look, I have this idea, I want to expand the blog, and I think I could reach a different audience with this medium. Do you have an extra microphone that I can borrow? I didn't even know what it would connect to, honestly. I was just like, do you have a microphone?
Right.
And so that's where I took that energy, is to be like, okay, I like it. I think this is the future. How do we get one done?
Okay.
Again, just like the blog,
Yeah.
I don't care how clunky or weird it is. I just need to figure out how to put one together. Now I'm used to my voice. Now I'm getting even a little egotistical in my voice. I'm like, wow, I give this away for free. But
on community radio.
Yeah.
Wow.
But again, back then I was still so, because I'm an introvert at the end of the day, so this was really difficult for me to do personally. So I had to, just hand it out to people that I truly trusted. And next thing you know, Google is like shutting down my account for a couple of days because there's like, oh, there's too much, you're using up too much data.
Oh my god!
People were downloading it because people were listening to it and downloading it.
Oh, that's
and so that I was like, well, I can't keep getting my Gmail locked, you know. So because it was my Gmail, you know, and like, well, it's a cool reason, like they, you know. Google's just trying to protect its services, but like I'm not understanding why. So I'm like, okay, not only am I finding this interesting, other people are finding this interesting. So I was like, oh, okay, I have something here. So then I went to my buddy and I was just like, dude, I like this. I want to keep going. Like if you want to follow me along, let's do this. But I want to expand this. Not just soccer is just too niche. Like we need to expand it. And I born and raised in Salinas. I like Salinas. I enjoy living there. And it's so funny. I also enjoy cities, how they grow. Cities, it's just so. I'm sorry, but I still maintain that it's from the earthquake in '89. Because again, we're out here kind of because in Salinas it was pretty bad, but over here, Watsonville, you know, Santa Cruz, San Francisco, especially, and I was only 2.5, you know, so I'm not saying that I actually remember, but because we had a truck, and back then my sister was like, you don't remember? And they were like, anyone that has a truck, you're part of the cleanup crew now, you know, like go to this place and then they're going to direct you where to pick up rubble. I don't remember this, but I swear that this is my reason why I love cities is I got to see basically a city destroyed. Right. So as a kid, it kind of was like, how do these come together? Like, these are real living places. So anyway, so I enjoy that. So I'm like, okay, cool. I could tell that story of Salinas, how it grew, how it, you know, it came out of something. And then also growing up in Salinas in the 90s and even into the 2000s, especially like 2012, Salinas had a bit of a reputation of being a kind of a rough place, especially certain neighborhoods to live in, and it would just break my heart going to the peninsula and people would just say avoid Salinas at all costs.
Which peninsula is that?
Monterey Peninsula.
Okay. Yeah. People would just say avoid Salinas?
Oh yeah. People would say, you know, just don't. It's like a shooting gallery, you know, like, and it's just like,
so
what? And it's not. I mean, and I'm a realist. There are certain neighborhoods that if at night, if you have no business being there, I wouldn't suggest that you just walk around there, but you would have no reason to do that. And also, and the people that live there don't live in fear. Like they could just go to the store. Like, you know, it's just, you know, so I'm just like, well, we can change in there. Because at the time, again, it's always easy to blame, the media, you know.
We should blame the media. Yeah. Which is also why you need community radio.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what I like about, you know, these type of you know, stations and stuff. It's because there might be, but I really doubt that mainstream media sits there and like, how can we make people look evil, you know? It's just, and because I'm a writer and I've written for newspapers, and it's one of those that's like, when you do a nice piece that makes people feel good, and look at like 50 clicks, but when you the robbery at the corner store gets like 5,000 clicks, so it's really hard. And that's where, for the editors and all, I understand, you know, it's like us as the consumers have to change our ways as well. So anyway, that's what I was just like, okay, that's what people believe because all they hear is the 5 o'clock news, and it's shooting in Salinas, so they believe that it is a shooting gallery or a narrative. It's like it's 160,000 people that live here, and because 15 people decided that, you know, like we all get judged for that, and all my neighbors, I mean, we had just all walks of life, you know, and it was just like, why do we all get painted with the same brush? Like, that's not fair. It's not fair to the city. It's not fair to the people that we're just really hardworking people. And some, like, because we're victims of our circumstances, then we get judged in certain ways. So I was like, instead of just sitting here and going to the coffee shop and being like, the mainstream media is the problem. Like, well, through this medium, now we can change the narrative. We don't need a big TV station with $1,000 cameras and FCC licenses and stuff. I can reach a global audience from my dining room. Like,
Absolutely.
It's the content really that drives it there. So I'm like, okay, we have something here. Well, again, we can't force name whatever TV station to change the how the way that they report, but we can report it our way, how we think it should be done. So that's what I told, again, going back, that's what I tell my friend, that's what this is going to be.
So this is what you're thinking about 13 years ago. So that would take us to, oh my gosh, 2012, 13. Yeah. So what do you do? What do you do when you're like, we can do the reporting? So this the potential to democratize access to information.
Well, again, we were like, number one, it was like, how do we get multiple microphones and what?
Okay, because I'm just trying to get some microphone action.
Because again, it's like, well, if I want to interview a band, how logistically, how does that work? And so I learned that there's a thing called a mixer, and a mixer. I mean, that's whenever you see a DJ and it's got the little knobby things, that's a mixer, and that's what that does. It takes multiple inputs and makes it into one output. And you connect it to your computer, and that's so anyway, so that was the next step. I didn't have any extra money because, again, never have gotten paid for this yet. One day. Well, actually, I did get sparkling water earlier. That was, I felt fancy.
Great.
Yeah. Let's see, it's finally paying off. But no, so again, so it was a mixer. We need a mixer, and because we started in April 2013 actually publishing, and because we got the mixer because there was an Easter sale on one of these, audio websites that sell equipment, and it was like, oh, whatever, our Easter sale, and there was a mixer there, and it was like $120 on sale, and I had like $130 in my bank account. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my gosh!
I'm like,
wow.
Dude, like,
you're all in.
This is literally all my money. But I need this. This is what takes the next step. And again, as I was doing this, I was debating this kind of openly. I was sitting at a bar at a pub in downtown Salinas, and the owner, and this is what's so cool about the whole community aspect. I'm basically, the owner / bartender is, you vent to them, and they're therapists,
Yeah.
And I told him, man, like, this is it. This is the next step. This is what I need, but it's all my money. And he was like, you know what? Order that thing, and come record your show here at the pub. And when you're recording, your drinks are on me.
Oh my gosh!
He's like, because you believe in you, I believe in you, kind of thing.
That's awesome.
And so I was like, all right. So I ordered it, used up all my money. I'd wait till Friday until I could eat again, kind of thing.
Wow.
But yeah, and that's where from there, then we were just, adding equipment and stuff, and the ball started rolling, and, to where we ended up with now our own studio and a network with 5 different shows and all these different topics. And again, told stories and been places that I would have never thought, and all telling Salinas stories. That's what because I'll be honest, when I started, I was like, can I find enough positive Salinas story, and that has been kind of like the least of my problems. The town is full of interesting people, whether they're cooks or owners or business owners or in bands and they all have these amazing lives, and I've been able to document this. That's what's so cool. And I mean, I don't mean to get a little dark or sad, but after 13 years now, we've had people that have since passed away, and that we've been able to interview, and some of those stories are just so great. And I was just like, it's bittersweet because I would love to have you around.
Yes,
but
of course.
I love that your voice and your ideas and it's not, hey, I knew this guy, he's not around anymore. Like, oh, this restaurant was actually founded by this person, and they're not around, and they were really cool, and you should have heard their laugh. They had such a unique laugh. Well, now we have that. Now you can be like, don't hear my story, go to the podcast episode and hear his story from him telling it, and it's so yeah, it's been super cool to be able to document that. And like I said, at first I was like, man, I want to do this every week, like, can I? But again, here we are 13 years later, and I still have just an endless list of people from Salinas that are doing amazing things that I can't wait to interview.
So I wanted to get people to understand, like, your origin story, because I do feel like, because I'm a fan of your podcasts, that you have the Oz philosophy. So I feel like you are very fair, and I'll just say I am probably more interested in the sort of current eventsy, newsy type things that you've done. But your podcasts are they're quite expansive in terms of topics.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned loving stories and loving writing. So, like, I would love for you to bring us back to, like, Little Oz. Little Oz. When did you realize, oh, I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller?
It's funny because I actually just found a journal from, like, when I was in kindergarten or first grade, and I was just telling these, inventing stories. But you know what? One thing that I feel, because I grew up speaking Spanish for my, until I went to school, kindergarten, first, so, my first 3-4 years, whatever, was all in Spanish, and then got really lucky in a bilingual program, and I learned English. But anyway, it's so interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm over romanticizing it at this point, but I swear my love for the language and storytelling and putting it together in a certain way comes from the Emancipation Proclamation.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it was actually the Gettysburg Address. I'm sorry, the four score and 7 years ago, whatever, the Gettysburg Address. Yeah, it's the Gettysburg Address. So, again, when I was a kid, we were really poor. So poor that, like, I had to overemphasize. No, just kidding.
Okay.
But anyway, it was like literally you open the fridge and it's empty, kind of poor. And so when the book fair came around, it was like heart-wrenching because I wanted books, But I remember my little buddy, his name was Joel. Well, probably still is Joel, to be quite honest. But he got one of these, the Abraham Lincoln book, and it was about the Gettysburg Address. And I remember reading it at his house and just being obsessed with this speech,
Wow.
And I mean, it's great. It's a great speech. Abraham Lincoln is a really great writer himself. He's an attorney and a lawyer, so of course those guys know how to write stories. But anyway, I think for me, because I still remember that story, so it's like it has to be important for some reason. But reading that, it just got me into the storytelling aspect. And of course, as much as I hate to admit it, my older sister was a big reader. So she always had books around, and sometimes it was like, was it Babysitter's Club or,
Wow, you had to read what she was reading because she had the books.
Yeah.
She had the power.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dude. And she controlled the TV. And it was,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you bring that up now that you're adults? You're like, remember when you controlled the TV? And
No, she joined the Air Force, so she'd beat me up.
Okay.
So I'll stay quiet.
So when you were reading the Gettysburg Address, how old were you?
Again, this was first grade at most. Okay. Yeah. Because I remember. I stayed there at his house without telling him. There was no phones or anything. This was third grade, so it was like 93 or something. My mom thought I was kidnapped. He lived literally across the street. I was like, I can see the school, but my mom just expected me to be there when she picked me up, and I wasn't. I still remember her. She was. Like, I saw her cry, like a different kind of cry for the first time. And I was like, oh no. but I read, it was to read a book. You know, it was to read a book, and it was the Gettysburg Address. And yeah, and then like I said, and then wow, now that I'm saying this, also speaking of first grade, much credit has to also be given to which was kindergarten, first and second. I got lucky. I was so lucky. I got the same teacher those 3 years, Miss Frederick, and Miss Frederick, super cool because she was Japanese, so she spoke English, Spanish, and Japanese. So yeah, and so she would also read to us, you know, and she would, like Stuart Little. I remember Stuart Little. We had a classroom rat, 2 of them, Bubbles and Hunka Munka.
They like actual rats?
Yeah,
Or
like
oh my
actual
God.
rats, and you could take them. Like somebody would get chosen to take them home for the weekend, you know. And
Oh my God.
I did it a lot because I loved them, and people were like, "Ugh, rats," but they were like domestic rats, not like rats that we just found. Like
Wow.
Bubbles was black and white, and she had these little dots, you know, and they were super cool.
Adorable.
And I'm pretty sure Hunka Munka comes from Stuart Little, or there's something there, or maybe like.
Did your teacher name them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And again, I remember Bubbles, again, probably not from Stuart Little, but Hunka Munka, it's either in the foreword or there's some, I believe, I'm going to have to go. I'm so curious because obviously it's stuck with me. I don't know. Maybe some listeners are like, oh, Hunka Munka's from this.
I know people are going to at you later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending.
Hunka Munka, what is it?
Yeah.
Or it may have been her grandma or something. But I don't know. So anyway, I give a lot of credit to her because, again, the program that it was, well, I'm ultimately trying. I mean, she didn't really do that much Japanese, but she introduced me to sushi, you know, like
in class.
We made sushi.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was pretty cool. I mean, we're on the east side, which it's a bunch of Mexican kids, you know, like, and it's in the 90s. There's probably 2 Japanese restaurants in Salinas at the time or something, you know. So it was pretty cool to get that kind of culture. And she listens to the podcast. It's so interesting.
Oh my God! Do you want to shout out to her on this show?
Yeah, Miss Frederick. Yeah, if a big, you know, the reading. Like I said, you combine my sister, her, and then coming across the Gettysburg Address of all things.
Wow.
And that's what really set me on that path of like storytelling and books and writing. And like I said, I came across a journal from those times, and I'm just making up my little stories there. Super cool. When I win the Pulitzer, it's gonna be worth a lot of money.
That's awesome. So from a very, very early age, you fall in love with reading and writing. What happens? Like, how do you channel that energy? Like, I haven't asked you. I have no idea if you're like a poet or you mentioned.
I journal a lot.
You journal. You've published articles in newspapers. Like, I actually don't know if you've been a reporter.
No, just kind of like local stuff.
Pieces.
Yeah. Just like, oh, you know, Leon Panetta's doing a speech over here. Go cover it. Kind of thing. And then, and then sports writing. I did that professionally for. I mean, it was just my beat was the San Jose earthquake, so it's not like I went around the country or anything. But yeah, I did get paid to cover. That was pretty cool. Like, that was interesting. Like, well, I'm getting paid to to cover soccer, like something I love. It was so much fun. Yeah, and but yeah. So like I said, I do journal a lot. Like I go through an ink cartridge a week if I'm really.
Okay, we have to talk about your ink and pen. Yeah. What's your favorite setup?
Well, right now I'm using my Coeco Sport. It's so smooth. Like Coeco Sport with Rhodia A5 spiral notebook. Yes, it's so I write a lot, and you get tired because I write like I mean I can type relatively fast as well, but it's just the nerdiness. I mean, just putting ink to paper, like
it's faster.
Well, it is, but it also emotionally ties me to like scribes throughout history kind of thing. I think it's just such an important part is, you know, the writing down of knowledge. And it wasn't always ink, you know, like cuneiform tablets or something at some point. But using a tool like that, I feel, I mean, it's the same thing with a computer. It's just a more, but again, it's like emotionally, I just feel. Plus, the sound, because if if it's quiet and you're writing and you could hear the nib on the paper and the quick, 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 quick. That sound is soothing to me. Like, I like to skateboard as well, and the sound of the wheels rolling.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like meditative, and I love it. So anyway, going back to my pens and my papers, because I write a lot, so you get tired, you get fatigue. At one point, I started teaching myself to write with my left hand so I could keep writing. I was going to
ask, are you ambidextrous or
no?
It's just
I was just like, this is just too much. I can't. I'm not going to be able to admit that to people. So I would just, again, I came with the tools. Then, all right, well, let me find a correct, because I'm just using these notebooks off the shelf and like, all right, cool. So came fountain pens. Came across a fountain pen. I absolutely love how they write versus gel or other type of inks. So it's just easier on my hands. It's just, and then again, the Rhodia, we use Clairefontaine paper. Clairefontaine bought Rhodia, so they're the same company. So anyway, but it's this French paper, super smooth. It's made for fountain pens. Okay. So it glides. People like to make, they make fun of me because here, with my fancy little pen, but I'm like, here, write with it, write in the notebook, and people are just like, whoa, this thing just glides.
Okay, I kind of want to see a demonstration,
and you can feel it, and it's just like, so when you're writing for 3 hours, that makes a difference. The friction of the nib on the paper wears you down. I mean, you could also like write with your shoulder and you keep your hand stiff, but it's just you can't be as quick again with your hand.
Wow.
So
who knew? It's like fencing, right?
Yeah, no,
it's like there's an athletic aspect.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to when you use your shoulder and you're like, whoa, like, because your hand is completely still, so it doesn't get tired.
Yeah, but
it is kind of a technique to do, and but yeah, so anyway, that I just enjoy the craft of writing. Again, writing. It's so cool to me. But yeah, right now I've my Coeco fountain pen. It's Coeco Sport. I mean, it's like a $40 pen. It's not, because people are like, oh, Mont Blanc, I has it if it's not a Mont Blanc. And it's like, dude, whatever works. And don't get me wrong, I'll take a Mont Blanc if someone wants to give me a Mont Blanc or some of those that type of pen. But $300 for a pen is just,
that's not your.
No,
that's not
again,
your thing.
Maybe after the Pulitzer.
Oh,
but.
Okay. It's always good to have goals. Yes, yes. So it sounds like you have like a very dedicated like writing practice that I think a lot of people would envy. I'm curious about that. I mean, do you consciously set aside a certain amount of time? Like, I'm going to put pen to paper, because it sounds like you love to write in 3-hour chunks.
Like,
what is...
Well, I don't... Yeah, when I'm writing creatively, I'll try to do like 2 to 3 hours. But usually I write at night before bed, because for me, that's part of the therapy of writing, is because I'll do that. Sometimes I can't go to bed because something's in my head, like, oh man, I gotta go to Santa Cruz for that interview. Like, what if the car breaks down? What if this, that, and the third? And the way I get it out of my head is by putting it in my journal.
Okay.
So like all these thoughts and all this, what negative, positive, whatever. For me to get them out of my head is I put them in my journal. And that really helps me. It relieves a lot of stress, from, just thinking of that's the dumb little things you do throughout the day, and so at the end of the day, it's kind of like a winding down in a sense,
right.
Of like, okay, all these doubts have gathered in my head, let me push them out, and also because they're written down, it's not like you're just ignoring them. And that's also another thing that I don't do very much, but sometimes I'll go back and reread my journal entries, and I'm like, dude, you keep writing about this. Like, obviously this is exactly like you should probably try to fix this or focus on this, you know, whatever. And again, it could be anything. And that's where I always encourage people, like, you're probably doing some kind of pattern that you're just not aware of. But once you write it down, you're like, oh,
Wow.
oh, this is probably, you know, like, like, I do need to apply for that job. You know, that's what's in my, whatever. I don't know. It's different for everybody. And for me, that's where it's helped a lot, you know, instead of just like banging my head against the wall, like, oh, okay, this is what's really bothering me, because obviously I bring it up subconsciously, you know, these are my thoughts at the end of the day. If at the end of the day, I keep thinking, oh, apply for that new job, well, guess what? You're mentally not going to be able to move forward, or you're going to put the stress on yourself until you do that, you know? Apply for that job. Once that's out of your head, obviously that stress is not, you know.
So you're kind of using, the journal is sort of a collection tool, and you're kind of doing data analysis, like,
Exactly.
what's been on my mind? That makes so much sense.
And that's why I encourage, because people sometimes when they think about writing, they're like, "Oh man, I gotta sound like Robert Frost or whatever." Like, dude, no, write, write. And I mean, Kurt Vonnegut said, you know, like, one of the most famous phrases in English literature, the longest word is 3 letters, like, to be or not to be.
Right.
Like, you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah, like, you do need a good vocabulary. If you want to be a writer, your vocabulary is your most important thing. But as a human being, like, you're just doing this for yourself, you know? So don't worry about your punctuation or your grammar or how your writing looks. You're probably not going to share this with anybody, but the benefit that you'll get from it, you're doing things over, you're like spinning your wheels in places that you don't even realize, and then it'll be so evident once you write it down. You know, you won't mean to do it, it'll just come out, and you're like, whoa, this little thing keeps popping up.
So when you said creative writing, is that like fiction? Is that? Yeah,
I've been doing a lot more fiction, because again, professionally I've done journalistic stuff. Super fun. It's still storytelling, but you always have to follow like AP style and stuff, and you're just like, oh, you called this guy a doctor and he's not a medical doctor, and that's like, oh god, you're like, So it's understandable, because it's not an opinion, you know. You have to have certain standards that everybody can, because it's the record of history, you know, so it has to be a certain, you know, so it's understandable. But also at the same time, I'm like, well, I do feel like I got some nice things to say, or like, you know, I could put things together in a certain way. So this last year I was a little bored, so I was like, you know what, you know, you like to write, you've been bouncing around this creative writing stuff. For the next 3 months, write 1 story per month, 1 short story per month, just as a practice, you know, like, you have the time, you like to write anyway. So that's what I did. I wrote 3 short stories in 3 months, and I enjoyed it. And so I've been doing that, and some of those short stories are now trying to expand them. Like, I want to do something between like 15 or 30,000 words, because the short stories are like 5,000, really short. And also, again, the storytelling is so neat, because you can tell a certain story, but you're telling something else at the same time, you know. So you know,
you can work on multiple levels.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a squid story, but it's really like,
okay, you have to come back.
I forget, this is K-Squid, yeah,
and tell a squid story. Hopefully the squid is the hero of the story.
There's
hopefully not the villain.
See, and that's the debate with that. Okay, just to whatever, I won't take up too much time here doing this, but the premise of it was that, so squid been around, or squid eye, I don't know. They've been around for like 300 million years. Humans, in our sense, we've been around for like 3 million years. So this is an alternate history, alternate reality. We humans learned to use tools and therefore everything else
Right.
because of the squid.
What?
The squid taught us.
How? Wait.
Because squid could change their colors on their skin.
Right.
So they figured out a way. So humans were proto-humans, whatever. You know, our ancestor before our modern version was hanging out by the water, and the squid had already been around for hundreds of millions of years. So they're a very advanced civilization,
Sure.
animal, whatever.
Yeah.
So they wondered, can we teach another species some of what we've learned? So they see these ape things kind of bouncing around the water, and they're able to use their color changing ability on their skin to communicate with those ape proto-humans, whatever you want to call them, and they learn tools. So then the squid kind of go off on their way to allow their experiment time to develop. Well, in this time,
I love this so
climate
much.
change makes it so where the squid can't go back to the coast. So colossal squid, we know very little about colossal squid because they live around Antarctica in places where humans don't really fish.
Okay.
So we really don't have very many interactions.
Yeah.
So we don't know too much about them. So in my alternate history, the colossal squid are the ancestors of the squid that taught us how to use tools. And so here we are in modern times, once again, climate change. And this is where, again, I'm trying to climate change has now allowed the squid to get access to the shoreline so they can see their experiment, and they're like, whoa. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I should have backed up.
It's okay.
But
it's okay.
They're just like, the experiment has gone haywire. We need to end the experiment.
Oh.
So, because they're ultimately stewards of the planet, you know. So it's like this is just an experiment. This is where the debate happens. Some of the squid are like, there's no ethical question. It's just an experiment. I mean, look what they do to mice, you know, like
Right.
what's the question here?
Oh, spicy.
We're not going to allow an experiment to destroy our
Earth,
home,
sure.
you know, so, and we created them, therefore we can get rid of them in a sense. And see, this is where I'm still fleshing it out, but I think there's a hero squid that's like, you know what? I believe in humans. So it is able to communicate with a surfer that has this really deep connection to the ocean, and it basically tells the surfer, you guys have one final shot. These people are going to end your experiment.
Wow.
Which means the end of you. So can the surfer convince humans? Because again, he's going to have to say, hey, this squid is talking to me, and you know how we think all this stuff? Well, that's wrong. It was actually the squid that invented us in a way. And of course people are going to think like, come on, dude, you've been out in the water way too long, man. So anyway, that's,
I need this in my life right now. Like whatever form the story is, I need to read this like yesterday.
I got to flex.
So please send it to me. So that's like that. That's got so much in it, right? The ethics.
I got that idea because of the appetizer calamari. Because I felt so dumb. We were at a restaurant in Marina, and I like calamari. I've had it my whole life.
Hey, me too.
It's delicious.
Sure.
But I don't eat octopus for ethical reasons. I think they're too smart. It's not right, you know, to just. And I say that, and I eat cow, so okay, I'm not the, you know. But at least octopus, it's wrong. I feel that octopus know exactly what's happening, and that's just not right. Anyway, so I was like, what about calamari? Are they like just floating around like to be eaten? Or am I also taking out some intelligent life form and dipping it in tartar sauce, like so disrespectfully? And I was like, no, squid are different. And I felt so dumb because I immediately went home and researched it and calamari is just what we call the food. It's squid. It's just when it's an animal, it's a squid, and when it's an appetizer, it's called calamari.
Right.
And I felt even dumber because, like I said, I speak Spanish, and the Spanish word for squid is calamar. And I'm just like, it's just all it's so weird. Like, all these dots, just connect in your head, and you're like, oh man, I really can't admit this publicly.
It's on tape now.
Yeah, but
it's on tape now.
Here. So anyway, that's where it came from. I was like, because in my research, I saw that not only are squid intelligent, they are some of the most intelligent, beings in the ocean. And I'm like, oh, of course, dang. But turns out, especially at least if you get California squid, they harvest the squid in a way that they've already reproduced, I guess is the way to put it. So and after they reproduce, they die.
Right, that's true of a lot of animals. Yeah.
So all right, okay. So make sure, according to Seafood Watch or whatever from Monterey Bay Aquarium, at least if it's California, they have other ones that but again, for sure the ones in California. So I was like, oh, okay. I could still keep eating my calamari. I'm actually cleaning the ocean. But anyway, that's where I'm just like, wow, these things are incredibly intelligent, and they've been around 297 million more years than us. Like, imagine what they've been through and what they know. And I was like, well, what if we know everything because of them?
So whether it's fiction or you're documenting Salinas stories, what are the components of the Oz philosophy?
Well, I try to be, and I know you kind of dabbled or mentioned it a bit, but like I try to be as honest and down the middle as possible. Like, yes, you have the ability, especially using language, and if you know language and grammar, you can make people think certain ways, and people do that. And again, it's not like always nefarious. I don't know, that's how you make people laugh and cry and stuff in stories. But I always try to, instead of, I always tell people, I have my personal beliefs. If you want to know, let's go hang out at the pub. I'll tell you everything how I really feel. But in the public sense, I think it's important. Critical thinking is very important. And so it's important to give people information in a way that is digestible and as unbiased. Everything's going to have a bias, but let the people decide. Don't use angry, flowery language when you're trying to make someone look bad, because because there's enough bad in the world anyway. So and that's where, again, I try. That's my big thing is what is the real story, not what. Again, I can tell you what I wish the real story was. Like, again, with the whole city planning thing, like, people think, oh, the way that like money is quote unquote stolen from, it's like the mayor doesn't write themselves out a $30,000 check and go cash it. When you go through the budget, everything's above board. Everything, like, it's actually pretty surprising how many safeguards there are. Like, I wish I could report to you and say, I found this account. It's called secret stolen money account. But it never happens that way. And that doesn't mean it's not happening. But it's just like, well, okay, so as much as I would love to tell you that yes, I found this secret, it's not. And we, in our hearts, we want it to be right, and I'm not saying it hasn't been right at some point somewhere else, but here it's not.
So what about when, for example, I really appreciated your show about the Amazon Fulfillment Center, and you're giving your perspective about like land use, right? And so land use is all about like rules, like following rules and so on. It's like, okay, Amazon bought this land and this and that. So everything that, say, like there's no like scandal per se, right? Like, oh, this thing happened, that thing happened. Everything's above board.
Yeah.
When you're looking at it from like the impact on, say, Salinas, right? Because you're looking at the facts. what do you, I guess, how do you decide, okay, this is, you're portraying it fairly, but also you want people to think critically, right? So how do you approach such a puzzle?
I think also not telling people like, hey, I'm Oz, I've done the research, this is the end of it. It's like you give them enough where you pique their curiosity. And it's like you then, because I don't know, my listeners, half of them might think it's great and they want 3 more fulfillment, so I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, this is why it's evil. Like, well, this is what I found, and this but there are still more questions here, and I can give you the answers and then you can repeat them up, but it's just it doesn't help you understand it. Like, I leave enough, or I hope that I leave enough that people they got the full story, but they're also interested and they want to pay it. So the next time they see it on the council docket or something, they're like, whoa, I know what that is. Maybe I should show up to that. Or if it's, again, on the 5 o'clock news, they have a better understanding of what that meant. And again, I love the research. I love the research, but I think it's super important to be like, there is way more to be done. And also, you have your personal opinions. I can't, I've said it before. I would love for the world to think like, it'd be awesome if everyone thought exactly like, it'd be awesome for like a week, and then it'd be so boring. It'd be so boring. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sure. It would get so boring so quick. So again, I think that is also, is again, you have your own truth. I have my own truth. My show is not, and there are plenty of shows, podcasts especially, that are like, this is the full truth. I got it all figured out, and nobody. It's just nobody does. Like, it's just so. So that's what I wanted. Is okay. Here is a very well researched. I enjoyed doing the research. Everything I believe is as correct as it can be, but also there is so much more, and it's up to you to make that final decision. When we did we interviewed people running for local office. I had to interview people that politically we are not. It was tough being in the same room with them, but it's what's fair. Just because I don't agree with your politics doesn't mean that I'm right. And
what?
Yeah.
What?
Right?
Wow.
Yeah. It's strange. It's so strange right now. But yeah, and again, we have plenty of that. You can go find and both sides too, left and right. You can go find your angry people yelling and telling you, this is it. This is the full truth. But I'm gonna continue to do my research down the middle. With no kind of emotionality, I guess, if that's the right word to use there, put into it. Even though they are very emotional topics sometimes, and I really wish that I could be like, vote no on this, and that's it. But
right, life would be so much easier. Yeah, if you could just tell people what to do.
And again, and I think too many people don't give enough credit to their audience, and they want to do their thinking for them. It's like, dude, if your audience, have more respect for them, because they follow you, so they're kind of a reflection of you in a way, because that's why they listen to you. So if they need their hand held and everything told to them, then that's probably not the
right. What does that say about you?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
As someone. Yeah. You were mentioning a while back that growing up in the aftermath of the Loma Prieta 1989 earthquake, that gave you this like view of what it means to kind of see a city destroyed, right? And so now if we fast forward, we're in 2026, and I know that one of your loves is like how a city emerges. What have you learned? And I realize that's sort of a big question, but what do you think is, I guess, what is there anything that surprises you about what you've seen, or something, or is there anything that like gives you hope? in terms of your observations, and not, I mean, whether it's Salinas or some other city you've watched, what do you love most as you see a town or these communities progress?
Yeah, at least like in Salinas, where the politicians aren't fully professional, we're getting there. Mm-hmm. So it has been neat to see who stands up and says, hey, I want to run for city council or for mayor. Mm-hmm. And it's super cool. It's never this flashy guy that came out of some think tank in Washington. It's usually it's the realtor, or the retired ag person or something. And there always is a left, right, Republican, Democrat, but on the local level, it really doesn't, like, I've seen more people they really just want their little town to succeed, and it's their ideas, and sometimes they're completely wrong, sometimes they're right, but it is super neat how very few of the people I've come across have these big, like, their aspiration is to be the council member of Salinas, of their district. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's not to be a state representative. It's not to be a senator. Mm-hmm. They have passion for the city to succeed, because that's what they're going to stick around. So, and that's what's so cool. Even, like I said, left or right, you might have a blue tie, you might have a red tie, but at this level, at the end of the day, you both just want the streets to be fixed,
One hopes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, you're going to go about it a different way. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You might know a construction company and they happen to get the contracts and not a lot of stuff gets built. But, and so, yeah. So, and that's what, and also, these are politicians, so you have to, like, read deeply between the lines, because they want you to see a certain
image. Sure,
yeah,
sure.
But at the end of the day, they really, because they're so tied to the community, they really just want the community to succeed, because again, they live there. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, every once in a while you meet a guy and you're like, dude, this guy, he's just looking at Sacramento, or he's looking at Washington D.C. And he's
sure.
And Salinas, it is I believe it punches above its weight in Sacramento a bit because of the ag and the tourism. A lot of money is created here, so I think it gets a little bit more attention. So that does make it attractive to people. Say, hey, if I can, say I'm a supervisor of Monterey County or a mayor of a Monterey County city, I can, that does
Catapult.
Look good. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, again, like I said, that's what I thought. It was awesome. It's just, it's the postal worker, or it's the store clerk. It's just, and they're just like, this is how it should be done. And I mean, I voted for people that are like, you're way out of your element. If you if you win, it's gonna be a struggle, but you're the most passionate, and you just know this city in a way that would benefit the city. Okay, yeah, you might not know where all the contracts and all that goes, or you might not have a friend in construction, but you really do care, about the city. So even if you are overwhelmed or out of your element, because you care and because the city supports you, you will succeed. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes people don't, they don't see that.
One thing, and I don't remember which episode this was, but I think one of your guests was just very clearly enunciating just sort of like the geographical importance of Salinas being, right, having a population of 160,000 people. There's hundreds of miles of radius where, like, is this radius or the distance between Salinas and the next city of that size? It's like there's huge swaths.
Yeah,
of I don't want to say not nothingness per se, but it's, people might not understand that something of that size, you're not going to see that for hundreds and hundreds of miles. I think you have to go very far south before you encounter any other city of comparable size.
Yeah, between San Francisco and Oxnard on the coast, it's the biggest city. And again, you're going south. Santa Maria's, like a little over 100,000. And but yeah, it is pretty unique, and it's just so many. It's bigger than Santa Barbara, which is and still blows my mind. But obviously, Santa Barbara is world famous. And so it is kind of because you do have when Santa Cruz and Monterey's and even Morro Bays and all these things are heavyweights in the international tours. So when you're where all the workers live, you kind of get forgotten. I think sometimes, even though the site it's like. Again, you take the whole Monterey Peninsula. You go from Carmel all the way to Marina, and it's like 90,000 people. It's still just compared to Salinas. It's not even half. Santa Cruz is 75,000. It's basically a neighborhood of Salinas.
Yeah.
But Santa Cruz is a globally known name, where Salinas.
I didn't know that actually.
The population?
No, that it's like globally known as a tourist destination.
Because the whole surfing thing, everyone still think.
Well, I think I'm a little. Maybe I'm kind of like, I don't want to say jaded, but I'm kind of saturated. I'm like, okay, like when you grow up in an area, it's like, okay, maybe I tune it out, sort of.
Right.
It's like, so what?
Well, and the Santa Cruz skateboards is just such an iconic brand, and it just happens to be called Santa Cruz.
That's true.
I think more people are probably aware of the skateboard company. I don't think they might not even know it's named after a city.
Right. They're just like, oh, hey, that's that skateboard. Hoodie
it's cool.
Or whatever. It's cool.
Yeah. If you wear Santa, or like Hollister.
Right, it's a clothing company, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not named after the city, but yeah. So so Santa, when I say I'm from Salinas, people say, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's by Santa Cruz." Oh, okay. It's people. I mean, I usually say Monterey, but and that's what's so interesting. And again, we are. That's where, and that's also I think sometimes where it's so unique is you have all these tourist areas, but the people that work there can't afford to live there, so they have to live somewhere. And because of its size, they all tend to congregate in Salinas. I mean, leaving here, going south, it's going to be, bumper to bumper. So that's also another thing is that, and that's what I hope with Salinas Underground is that the citizens of Salinas also, like sometimes I think we don't have enough pride in our city that we should because of that, because Monterey gets all those tourist tax dollars. They don't have bumpy sidewalks like we do, but the city doesn't make a lot of money, and it's full of great people, doing cool stuff, and that's where again sometimes I think because. Like I said, when you go to Monterey and you see the cool stuff they have, and you think, "Ugh, I'm just from," it's like no, but Monterey wouldn't exist without us. Like, it's we are as much responsible for what that is, as they are, and we should be proud of it, and and that's where sometimes because of Salinas, it's a substantial city, population wise, especially again when you look at the coast, and and it does have all these great workers, and you see, oh man, these like whatever websites come out, the least educated cities, and
I'm just gonna say this right here, and I'm trying not to be on my soapbox, but quite frankly, in the way people talk about cities or locations, there's just straight up classism, there's straight up racism, and different areas they get the brunt of that. And so I'll just say it's like fingernails on the chalkboard for me. And so I hate hearing how disrespected the disrespect that Salinas gets, right, because of because of that prevailing norm and because of all the supremacy in the air. So I'll just say that, and then I'll let you continue. But you're saying what you're saying, but it just kills me to hear that.
No, and especially that like least educated and people like associate it with dumbest, and it's like no, they're just going off of the number of degrees divided by the number of people. And who's ever at the bottom of the list, that's the bottom of the list. But it's like Salinas, it doesn't, the ag work, you don't need a bachelor's degree to pick strawberries. You don't need a bachelor's degree to be, the welding is where I'm like, we have some of the most amazing welders. We probably, I can assure you, we have much more talented welders in Salinas than they do in San Francisco. But they don't have degrees. But these dudes could take metal and make it into a machine that slices apples at this amazing speed.
Wow.
Just like, and he's just some dude, you know? He's some dude. He's not some Stanford grad or no. Sorry, that was just like that was not a knock on Stanford grads.
You gotta read the
cool
book.
people.
You gotta read the book Palo Alto by Malcolm Harris. I've interviewed Malcolm Harris. Stanford. There's a very there's a huge embrace of eugenics in the history of Stanford. So anyway, continue.
I did get to record in the Green Library one time, and that was in like the medical antiquities.
Okay,
it was so cool, dude. Like first edition Isaac Asimov's just like,
oh, okay,
like what? Like, and again through podcasting has like allowed me to be here. Yeah. So anyway, just to get back, that's what bugs me is that nobody does that. Like, all right, well, let's have a welding competition, man. Like, you know, and people, I'm from Salinas. But it makes people think, I've somehow failed in life because I live here.
Wow.
You know? And it's just like,
what a terrible attitude.
Like, no, this is an amazing, and again, and then when you talk to people that, you know, because that's what I do for the podcast. And that was also another thing that I thought I was going to have to like swim through all this negativity of people being like, ugh, I want to escape. I hate it here. Everybody's like, they say they wish it was cheaper to live there, but they're like, this is amazing. The area is amazing. The weather is amazing. The people are great. And yeah, so it's so interesting when the people are, you know, these other people, these things come out and you read the comments and people just seem like so ashamed. And it's just like, number one, that's not the truth. Like, basically every person that I run into loves it here. Again, they wish it was cheaper. That's what said, I'm going to have to move out because I can't afford it, but I don't want to.
Right.
I like it here. I like the people here. I like the area here. And there's so much to offer. And yeah, so that's what bugs me. It's just like, dude, like, stop believing that. Like, the reality is that more people than not want to be here. So you're lucky that you're here. It's not some kind of stepping stone that you need to like this is, you can do it here.
So we started off our conversation discussing how you enter the world of podcasting, and what are some lessons that you've gained from jumping way into the podcasting world?
You'd be surprised how many doors open when you just do it. like
the Nike saying, just do it.
Again, I had no idea about sound or microphones, or I mean, that's another, people come into the studio and they're like, oh man, like, dude, you don't need this. I didn't start with any of this. Like, this took years to get here. Like, don't think that you need this in order to get going. And yeah, so that is just like, you'd be surprised how, again, the world will react if you're just like, again, if you want to be a writer, we'll start writing, you know, and go, you know, whatever you want to do. If you do it, the not the barrier to entry, that's kind of super vague, but like, you'd be surprised, you know, you think, oh, okay, I want to be a famous photographer, but the cheapest DSLR or whatever is like $800. It's like, well, if you're really motivated, you got a phone. Those phones that do really good.
Right.
Find, just do it. Don't feel embarrassed that this person next to you has a $10,000 lens and your picture might win that prize, and all of a sudden now you can afford the $10,000. Yeah, like just doing it will do so much for you. It'll open up so many doors, and also it'll show you if you really want to do it. Like I said, for me, when I started the podcast, it didn't matter that I didn't know anything or have any equipment. It was just like, I need to do this. Once I just did one, I was like, this is it. And it took doing the one, but I could have very well also done the one and been like, okay, it wasn't. But at least I tried. It wasn't, I didn't leave it in the maybe or thinking, like just, there's no guarantee, but like just doing it is you're going to learn so much about yourself, about, about the topic that you're getting into, and just, yeah, it might lead you somewhere else. Again, our name, Salad Bytes Media, was a blog, that never worked out. But eventually the name, stuck around. So, like, you don't know, what will come back in the future. Because at the end of the day, I do make these shows for people to listen to them. So it does feel good that people are listening to them and getting something from them.
Just like a side note, I was listening to one of your podcasts, and I remember maybe it was on Instagram or something. Somebody was like, "Oh, I love XYZ coffee shop. Maybe one of these days they'll sponsor." And then fast forward like a couple weeks, they had a podcast, and that coffee shop had sponsored them. And I've been there, by the way, but I just thought it's like sometimes when you're doing art, you're kind of conjuring things into being, right? The relationships or ideas and so on. So I just thought that was like a cool moment. No, yeah,
and it's super proud, as basically I'm like the dad of that, and like this is super cool because none of the people on the network are like professional quote unquote DJs. Nobody, it's just again school teachers and farmers market administrators or whatever, and I've made them into broadcasters, and obviously not huge, but free coffee is something.
Yeah.
And it was super cool to be able, to give them that opportunity. It was super cool.
Well, thank you so much for spending time at K-Squid with me. And I'm just wondering, I know there's so many ways for people to find you, and I'll put stuff in the show notes, but do you have a favorite way for people to follow you? Because I know you also have so many shows. But if people want to, let's say they don't know anything about you and they're like, I want more.
Yeah, again, on Instagram at Salinas Podcast, that's where whenever episode comes out, I'll put a minute clip on there. And again, of course, it's so boring now to say it, but wherever you listen to podcasts, Salinas Underground is available wherever you listen to podcasts. There are 350 episodes, so that there's a lot there. Definitely, I would say after the studio, things really changed. It became a little more professional. I would say those first 5 years, we had no idea what we were doing. We're having fun, but yeah, go wherever you listen to music, put in Salinas Underground, and click on a topic that you seem interested in or seems interesting. When I'm by myself doing more news type ones, I tend to title those independent. So if it says up independent, that's a old. There used to be a socialist workers newspaper on the east side of Salinas called the Salinas Independent.
Oh,
so a little not the socialism but the writing, this is ties into the history of Salinas, and also independent, which means I'm usually by myself. So that's
play on words. Yeah. Oh, so cool.
Salinas Podcast anywhere you listen to music, or Salinas Podcast on Instagram, and that's where I post my clips and everything I do, and yeah, it's a great place to see the madness.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan. Huge fan.
It's super cool. I'm still in front of a microphone, but I'm usually the one having to direct the interview, so it's pretty cool to just be the one like hitting it volleying back.
Thank you so much for being here. I know I was on you, stalking you for a while, so I feel great victory in getting you.
Yeah, I wanted to be here.
Reeling you in
Workout.
like a squid to the studio.
Yeah, and again, if you get California squid, you're okay.
Okay, great.